Warm water is the heat engine of a hurricane. It loves any warmth it can find. And unfortunately, we have been heating up the sea and the skies for well over a century now. As we all know, that heat trapping pollution coming from fossil fuels means that every second of every day, there's as much extra energy as 10 Hiroshima-sized atomic bombs.
That's right. It's Hiroshima-sized atomic bombs 1,000,000 times a minute. And it's all because of you and your darn SUV. You've ruined Florida. It's your fault. And the Democrat Party is here to stop you. They're going to rifle butt your grandmother to the ground. They're going to steal your car keys like you're a drunk on St. Patrick's Day. They're here to take your stuff. Well, happy Wednesday to you and welcome back. We continue to be at 888-630-9625. (888-630-9625). There is a big hurricane in Florida. The Democrats see it as a political opportunity. That means the news media as well, and CNN, a disgraced former news organization. Their middle name used to be News. Now, can't even tell you what it is because it's not what it used to be. That's for sure. Today is Wednesday, hump day in the Clinton household, and mailbag day here on the Chris Plant radio broadcast. And we've got lots and lots of crazy for you because the Biden family is very corrupt, and so is the news media. The news media is the most corrupt institution in the United States of America, as a matter of fact. They're not on our side, and that means the side of the United States of America, Western civilization, the Enlightenment, truth, justice, the American way, the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment. The Fourth Estate is corrupt. It has been utterly corrupted. Also because Democrats are pretty much everywhere. I've got a story from Reason magazine, you know, the libertarian people. 12-year-old boy removed from school over "Don't Tread on Me" patch. It's a patch. Here's a picture of the kid. Very clean-cut, sharply dressed kid. Got freshly starched blue button-down shirt and blue khaki pants. And he's very neat. Got a perfect haircut. He's actually got, I think he's got some moose jelly in his hair. It looks like he's got some moose jelly. He's so cleaned up. He's 12 years old. And he's got Jeff Wolf sitting across from me in Michael Piercy's normal slot. Michael Piercy working from home today. Jeff just pulled his hair out. He's got no moose jelly in Jeff's hair. He doesn't do that moose jelly stuff. What? It's called jelly mousse? Is that what it's called? I like to call it moose jelly. So Jaden is a 12-year-old boy, this young boy, and he went to school. He attends the, ironically, Vanguard School in Colorado Springs, Colorado. That's where they had that transgender mass murderer go to Club Q and shoot everybody. Remember that? Had to be tackled by a big, strong man, a heterosexual man who's an Army officer, to stop him from killing more people. And then the young girl in Colorado Springs stopped her brother from going to 2 schools. And her brother was also transgender. He was gender non-binary because that's, but don't pay any attention to that. There have been more transgender mass murders and suicide attacks than white supremacists. I love that. They're all about white supremacists. And they're making it up in their paranoid, wretched little minds. But Jaden is a 12-year-old boy who attends Vanguard School in Colorado Springs. He is the subject of a video that went viral on social media. Where else would it go viral? It shows the boy and his mother. He's got a mother, and they talk to each other, confronting a school administrator who asserts that the Gadsden flag patch on the 12-year-old boy's backpack violates district policy. Quote, "The reason that we do what we want the flag displayed is due to the origins with slavery and the slave trade," said the school administrator. Got to get rid of the kid. You can't have that Gadsden flag patch on account of Democrats used to be slavers. So pretty amazing stuff. He was kicked out of class, Colorado Springs, for having Gadsden flag patch on his backpack. And the school claims that falsely that the flag has its origins with slavery. This is our educational system. We got a bunch of mental cases running our educational system, don't we? Yes, we do. The school's director said, by way of email, that the patch was, quote, disruptive to the classroom environment, end quote. Not as disruptive as kicking the 12-year-old perfectly coiffed boy out of class. The flag, of course, has to do with the origins of the American Revolution and not slavery, but that's okay. Overthrowing the world's then ultimate superpower, the King of England, King George III. And they were the ultimate superpower in the world, on the planet at that time. And a ragtag bunch of colonialists threw them out and created the greatest, freest society in the history of the world, even though slavery was everywhere on the planet Earth back then. That was 1776. The Democrats pretend it was 1619 because they're mental, and they belong in mental institutions, a great many of them. We have to build more mental institutions because there are so many Democrats, Yeah, put them under lock and key. Lock and key? Yeah. And, yeah, amazing. So, by the way, in 1776, we pushed out the world's ultimate superpower from what is now the United States of America. And in 1777, we started outlawing slavery in our various states. Just took a matter of months because we're doing away with it. But the Democrats held on to it, dug their fingernails into the desktop, had to drag them out by their ankles, caused the deadliest war we've been in to date because the Democrats wanted to keep their slaves. So school officials removed Jaden from class due to his Gadsden flag patch. His mother fought back against his disciplinary action, explaining that the flag, a coiled snake above the phrase, "Don't tread on me," is not a pro-slavery image. Stupid educators, you're fired. You know how fired you are? It has its origins in the Revolutionary War and was intended as a symbol of resistance to British tyranny. And the British were the slavers, you see. That's the thing about that. District officials did not respond to a request for comment from Reason magazine. But Libertas Institute President Connor Boyack, who first publicized Jaden's situation, shared an email. He got an email that they sent to Jaden's mother, in which the school district, reiterated its position that the Gadsden flag is a, quote, unacceptable symbol, end quote, tied to, quote, white supremacy, end quote, and, quote, patriot groups, because patriot groups are bad. I think in North Korea that might be true. In the United States of America, here's the thing. Democrats are anti-American, and they're un-American. Who needs the Soviet Union when you've got the Democrat Party? Who needs Xi Jinping, Ricochet Rabbit, and the Chinese communists and the North Koreans? And who needs them when you got the Democrat Party here in the United States? Honestly. Kim Jong-un. Communism is here, and its name is the Democrat Party. And they're anti-American and they're un-American, and they're here to destroy the greatest country, the greatest project in human history, because they are totalitarian and authoritarian in everything that they do. Boy. Classical liberals and libertarians have adopted the Gadsden flag, and including Reason magazine on many occasions, as a matter of fact. But we have educators that are so dumb that, honestly, what are we going to do with them? So that's a 12-year-old boy. Democratic Colorado Governor Jared Polis, who's not on our side, actually came to Jaden's defense, describing the flag's message as iconic in a post on X. It was an X post by the liberal Colorado Democrat. And even he, the Democrat governor, wrote, "The Gadsden flag is a proud symbol of the American Revolution, an iconic warning to Britain or any government not to violate the liberties of Americans." This is the Democrat governor. Sure. How about him? It appears on popular American medallions and challenge coins. Amazing. Through today, and Ben Franklin also adopted it as to symbolize the union of the 13 colonies. It's a great teaching moment for a history lesson. Yeah, if the teachers weren't mental cases, But unfortunately, we've got teachers that are serious mental cases. Now, with that, I want to go to some audio that we have from Florida, because they have school boards there. They have schools and everything, and they also have school boards. It's, let's go to soundbite number 5. Soundbite number 5, if we could, because this video is out there on Al Gore's amazing internet. You know, it's, I think it's going viral on the internet. Where else would it go viral? What, in a hospital or something? I've got this great stuff. It's kind of an amazing story. There's a school board meeting in Indian River County in Florida. And parents showed up because the Democrats keep putting gay child porn in the libraries for the school children. And that's just straight up true. That's what they do. And let me go to I've got a local story from the local CBS station down there. This is really graphic, in quotation marks. Indian River County School Board removes dozens of books at the public's request. And then the left starts pounding the table and say, you're banning books. Now we're banning gay child porn, and the Democrats are fighting in favor of gay child porn in grammar schools down to kindergarten. So Vero Beach, Florida, packed with people and tension. The Indian River County School Board listened and responded to dozens of comments at Monday's meeting. Now, Living Dead Girl by Elizabeth Scott, currently in the Sebastian River High School in the library there. You know you're supposed to listen when you talk, don't you know? Let me go to the Reverend here. Soundbite number 5. This is the Reverend John K. Amen Chakuhu. All right, I'm going to go with that. And he appeared before the Indian River School Board on Monday to talk about racism and slavery and all kinds of things.
While everyone is talking about racism, let me say this on the topic of slavery: blacks didn't benefit from slavery.
He's black.
Just like we don't benefit from abortion.
What?
Planned Parenthood kills more black lives in 2 weeks than the KKK lynched in a century. Margaret Sanger said that she did not want the word to get out that she wanted to exterminate the Negro population. There is no slavery like lynching a baby in the womb. The same people who talk about the racist education standards, they turn a blind and deaf ear to the fact that blacks are being slaughtered in this country by and large by the Democrat Party and white liberals who seek to further the plan of Margaret Sanger.
Now, he was just getting warmed up, the Reverend was, and he's taken it to the Democrats there. Only a smattering round of applause from people supporting him there. And let me tell you something. The Reverend was just getting warmed up. And I've got a friend, and let me, spoiler alert here, he was eventually dragged out of the school board meeting, ejected from the school board meeting, because too much truth about the Democrat Party from the Rev, and I've got that coming up for you. And I've got breaking news. You know, President Joe Biden's plan to introduce and inflict a digital dollar on all of us is already in progress, and it's very important to understand the potential consequences for you and me. Because believe it or not, contrary to their claims, this is not in our best interest, not by a long shot, and time is of the essence. So taking action now and getting smart is absolutely necessary to protect yourself, your retirement savings, your investments. You can help protect your savings from the risks of Joe Biden's digital dollar by diversifying with gold and silver IRAs. You get started by calling the experts at American Alternative Assets. Call American Alternative Assets today. You get them at 888-4-GOLD-20. That's 888-446-5320 for guidance on safeguarding your retirement savings. Say no to Joe Biden's crazy digital dollar. Call 888-4-GOLD-20. 888-446-5320. Call them today. Get smart. Individual results may vary. There is no guarantee that past performance will be indicative of future results. Seek your own legal, tax, investment, and financial advice before opening an account. Yeah, this is a school board meeting that he started with that, and they were all, the school board people, they were curling up in balls at the dais And he went from abortion versus slavery to the books that they're putting in the schools for the children before he was ejected from the meeting. Hey, it's Chris Plant, excited to tell you about our July 2024 Listener Sea Cruise. We'll be sailing around the British Isles, visiting Scotland and Ireland. Please join us. Book by this July 31st for extra savings. Visit chrisplantcruise.com. We're going to get back to the Reverend, who is great. And I have learned that he's a personal friend of Sebastian Gorka as well, the Reverend Amanchukwu. And he brought it to the school board meeting. It's great stuff, and I have that for you. So don't go anywhere. He is just getting warmed up with the abortion versus slavery. It's about time. You know, the world needs, the country needs more John A. Amanchukwus, because he's coming out and taking it to the Democrats and telling the truth. The truth. Nothing gets you in trouble like the truth. All right, let's go to the phones, Jeff. Let's go to Anonymous, calling from Washington, D.C. on line 9. Anonymous, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Yeah, Chris, man, I love your show.
Thank
love
you.
Your show every
Thanks
day.
Very much. Thanks a lot.
And I like the Newsmax show, too. But first, I just wanted to tell you a Gadsden flag story I experienced myself. This was probably 2012. Mm-hmm. We lived in Florida. We lived in military base housing that was condominiums for officers and their families. Mm-hmm. And as is, I have a collection of flags, and I rotate them all the time. Well, I had this Gadsden flag out for that week, and new neighbors moved in on the other side of the condo building I was in. And the first thing they did is they kept looking at me and glaring whenever I'd walk outside. The next thing I know is towards the end of the day, the condominium manager comes to me and says, "You have to remove that flag." Now, he was a civilian. "You have to remove that flag because it's racist." And I said, "Do you not know American history?" And he says, "Why?" And I said, "This is one of the founding flags of the United States of America." And then I said, "Oh, by the way, your office is on Gadsden Drive."
That is too great. Oh man, they're just. Where do we find all these dumb people? This is this is about public education in the end, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, one thing I will tell you is you've got to remember that with the bell curve on IQ, half the people you meet have less than an average IQ.
2-digit IQ, as a matter of fact. That is, that's hilarious. Thank you, Anonymous. A fun call. His office is on Gadsden Drive. Every day is an IQ test. Please try to compete. If you're black and you, what is it Joe Biden said? You know, if you're black and you don't vote for him, you ain't black. All right, let me just say, if you do vote for him, you ain't black. That makes it okay. He's a white guy, said it. I'm a white guy, said it. I got some ethnicity going, a lot more than him. You know, my father being Basque and everything. Let's get back to the Reverend here, because this is great stuff. School board meeting in Florida just a couple of days ago. And the Reverend John A. Amanchukwu took an African name long ago, and he's got God and he's got truth on his side. And this school board meeting is really something. Vero Beach in Florida, and parents showed up because parents have had enough of this lunacy, right? And Moms for Liberty also there at the school board meeting. And originally, you know, let's show up at the school board meeting and let's show the school board what they're doing to our children by, among other things, reading aloud from the gay child porn that they put in the children's curricula and in their grammar school libraries and high school libraries. And it turns out there is a fun law in Florida because Ron DeSantis is the governor there and not some radical left-wing lunatic. But there is a fun law that I will share with you as we're going forward here. There is a thing like, a mother showed up at the school and grabbed a book called Living Dead Girl by Elizabeth Scott. It's currently, in the high school library shelves and probably in the curriculum. And quoting from the book, you're supposed to listen when I talk to you. He shoved me to the floor and pulled off my pants and it's the public comments thing, right? And it's kind of funny because the Indian River County School Board chairwoman, Dr. Peggy Jones, you think she's a doctor? Said, we're all adults here. This is, I love this. We are adults, and if there are children out there, I understand that. But we don't want to be reading that aloud. Now, this is a school board meeting, and you're reading aloud from the books that they put in the children's classrooms, in their school libraries, and in their curriculum or curricula. And when you read it aloud at the school board meeting, then it's so offensive that the chair of the school board stops you because she's afraid there might be children out there. No sense of irony. Well, that's why the parents are here, because you people are putting these books into the hands of the children, but you don't want them read aloud in front of adults because you're afraid there might be children out there. No sense of irony. No sense of irony whatsoever. All right, so let's go back to the Rev, because the Reverend John A. Amanchukwu is speaking to the school board, and he raised a couple of great points to open. And as soon as I started watching the Rev, I was loving him. And he talked about how abortion kills more black people in 2 weeks in the United States of America than the KKK killed in the history of the country. And that's a Democrat Party organization, just by the way. So here is the Reverend Amanchukwu at the Florida School Board meeting, bringing it to him.
Now on the topic of these pornographic books that you keep calling these point of contacts on as it relates to whether they should be read or not. 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher, currently in Storm Grove Middle School and Freshman Learning Center. Page 265. As if letting him finger me was going to cure all my problems.
Sir, I'll stop
but
you there.
in the end,
Sir, I will
never
stop
told
you
to
there,
get away.
and then
And
we
you
will
didn't.
continue
You stopped
to
rubbing
not look
circles
at that. I'm
on
going
my
to stop
stomach.
you there, please.
Instead, you rubbed
Would you
back
cut
and
the
forth,
microphone, please?
gently along my
Cut the
waist.
microphone.
Kill his
Your
microphone.
pinky made its way
Cut it.
under the
Stop
top of
it,
my
please.
panties
Sir,
and rolled
stop
back
it.
and forth
You don't
from
stop,
hip
I'll
to
ask
hip.
you to leave. Thank you.
We're going to have to ask you to leave, see? Because, by the way, 13 Reasons Why as, child porn. And it's naturally been made into a television series by Netflix because you got to have broader distribution for the child porn, get it to every household. And the company that pays Barack Obama and Michelle Obama tens of millions of dollars because they're television producers now. Isn't that right? That's the thing with that. Pretty amazing stuff. So he wants to read from the book, and immediately she, knowing what the book is, stops him, gavels him, announces like the Soviet lunatic that she is that it's time to cut the microphone. Just amazing. Now, soundbite number seven. Amazing stuff. The school board woman insists that the Reverend Amanchukwu must be removed, if need be, forcibly from the school board meeting.
Sir, I asked you to stop, and you're going to have to leave if you don't continue with that. Yes, sir. No, sir, I asked you to stop. I asked you to stop. Sir, if you don't, sir, I'm asking you to stop. If you don't do it, we're going to have you removed. Thank you. Please. I've asked you to stop. Yes, sir, I've asked you to stop.
No free speech.
Sir,
Don't
I'm
read the
asking you to
books.
stop. Yes. And when I stop, it's removed. And I've asked you to stop, so they were removed.
Now, again, the left becomes irate, and they say, you're banning books. Books that you won't allow to be read aloud at school board meetings in a room full of adults because they're too pornographic, but insist and demand be put into the hands of school children as young as kindergarten. T.C. Palm has the headline, Moms. It's Moms for Liberty. The organization banks on new state law. Indian River School Board to remove 20 books. And it's a truly amazing story because Moms for Liberty is wonderful, and they've been vilified. Haven't they been called a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center or something like that? They're completely insane. Indian River County in Florida, an orchestrated attempt by Moms for Liberty to circumvent the school board's book review policy hit pay dirt on Monday. Moms for Liberty members read the school board inflammatory passages from previously challenged books. In the end, the school board, ordered at least 20 books removed from school libraries. This is because of a Florida law, thanks to Ron DeSantis. The board voted unanimously to remove books deemed too sexually explicit to be read during the meeting. The school board chair, Dr. Peggy Jones, stopped many of the nearly 50 speakers from finishing passages they were reading. For other books, she asked for the content warning to be included so parents could remove children who were watching the meeting remotely. No sense of irony. You know, they're Democrats put these in schools. They demand that you keep them in schools. If you ask, they be taken out of schools. They accuse you of being a Nazi book banner, right? But if you want to read them aloud, then they have you forcibly removed from the adults-only school board meeting because they're afraid that children might be listening remotely. You people, the words that are appropriate to describe you probably shouldn't be used on the radio. That's just content warnings and make sure the kids aren't listening. These are about books that they put in the schools. No sense of irony. It's exactly what the group had hoped to accomplish, Moms for Liberty. Counting on a new state law, Ron DeSantis, that requires school districts remove books when someone is prohibited from reading them during a public meeting. That's a great state law. If you're not allowed to read this in public, then you shouldn't have your first graders. And, they bring in transgender, ex-convict, drug-addled mental cases to twerk in your first grader's face with male genitalia while pretending to be female. Just amazing. So you're prohibited from reading them aloud in meetings. That means they're not allowed in schools. Jennifer Pippin, president of the local chapter of Moms for Liberty, told T.C. Palm on Tuesday that they've used the state law, and they used it at this school board meeting because it's a great state law and a very clever and smart state law. Moms for Liberty is a conservative political group founded 2 years ago in Indian River and Brevard counties. Every other time we've read the books, we've been shut down immediately, Pippin said. We did the most inflammatory passages to be respectful of time. Well, you're not going to read the whole book. It's just, here you go. Passages from 57 books were read, Pippin said. Jones, the school board president or chair, stopped the readings from at least 20 books, including The Handmaid's Tale, The Bluest Eye, and Go Ask Alice, as a collection of books by author Ellen Hopkins, she said. An exact count is still being compiled. Now, here's the thing. And, they've been pushing The Handmaid's Tale. It's another one they turned into a series to get it to more children because, and then the Democrats have this weird fixation on The Handmaid's Tale. And also this T.C. Palm, they're not going with, they're trying to make Moms for Liberty look bad. That's the purpose of this so-called journalism, right? So we've got that going. Now this is great stuff. Great stuff. And Here is the Reverend John Amanchukwu being dragged out of the place. That's just amazing stuff. Number 8, did we play number 8? Yeah, okay, number 8.
It's wrong.
Okay, sir. Mr. Teskey, would you remove him, please? 3 warnings.
3 warnings.
3 warnings. I've asked you, please, to remove. Yes, sir.
Turn
Yes,
off
sir.
his mic.
Because you won't stop.
You
won't
can't
stop.
speak.
I've asked you to stop.
He's a reverend. Being dragged out.
Okay, sir. I just said I've stopped you from reading. It's going to be removed, so I'm going to ask you to go.
This is not right.
Well, it's not right that you're not listening.
You got to obey.
needs to be removed.
Obey the school board. The school board has this kind of authority. Man, oh
Thank
man.
you very much.
Shut
I
up.
appreciate it.
I'm telling you. So, Moms
Thank
for
you
Liberty.
very much. Thank you very much.
What a great law.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. That's crazy. And there was a radical left-wing group there that was there to challenge Governor DeSantis's new educational policies. And, oh, you're a book banner. Well, what a great law in Florida that if you are not going to allow the book to be read aloud in public in a school board meeting, then it shouldn't be allowed on school shelves. Doesn't that seem reasonable? Yes, it does. Man, I'm telling you. Now, let's go to speaking of Florida and Ron DeSantis, let's go to soundbite number 1, numero uno, as the Democrats like to say. Governor Ron DeSantis, there was a triple murder, 3 people murdered in Jacksonville, Florida. When was that? A long time ago, many days ago now. Long before 3 teenagers were murdered in Washington, D.C. over the weekend, all black teenagers, a 16-year-old and 2 17-year-olds. 16-year-old girl stabbed to death outside the McDonald's at 14th Street and U Street. The McDonald's, because she was fighting with another 16-year-old girl over the sweet and sour sauce from McDonald's. So the 16-year-old girl, they're both African-American, who wanted the sweet and sour sauce, stabbed the other girl to death, right? Then 2 17-year-olds shot to death. There are no stories on that in the Washington Post today, but there is another story today. In Jacksonville, shooting elicits grief and call to action. And Washington Post, that didn't happen here. Mourners decry white supremacy and recall city's painful history. Democrats are living in the centuries gone by. And it was all Democrats doing this in every single instance. And the article is full of stuff like, Governor DeSantis has blood on his hands. And this radical leftist state representative, Angie Nixon, says, Ron DeSantis, you're a racist, right? So this is your Democrat Party. And I guess they just go around calling everybody racist because, they're the party of the Klan. You know how they are. And Jim Crow and standing in schoolhouse doors and child porn in your kid's library and murder and carjacking and defunding the police. That's your Democrat Party. Vote accordingly. So I've got audio coming up of Ron DeSantis and then attacks on Ron DeSantis because he's a terrible, awful person, right? Hey, do you have smelly odors in your home you just can't get rid of, maybe in your office? Well, now you can get rid of any stinky odor with the Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm gets rid of strong odors from cooking and cigarette smoke and litter boxes, and even leftists are no match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. The Thunderstorm starts working in a matter of seconds to clear the room of any odor. Plus, there are no expensive filters to have to mail away for or go to Home Depot. None of that. They're self-contained, and you can hold one in your hand. They're only this big. No filters to replace. More than 350,000 Eden Pure Thunderstorm units already sold, thousands of 5-star reviews online. I've got 2 of them working at home right now in my home. Here's what you do. During this week, I've got a great deal for you to get your own Eden Pure Thunderstorms. Right now, you can save $200 American on 3 Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifiers for whole home protection. Put one in your teenager's room. Bring one to work. Give one to your smelly friend. That's 3 units for under $200. Just go to EdenPureDeals.com and enter the discount code CHRIS. That's EdenPureDeals.com. You enter my first name, Chris. That's the discount code. Plus, because you hang with me, you get free shipping. Yes, sir. Yeah, the attacks on Ron DeSantis will continue because we've got a very corrupt news media. Coming right up, Ron DeSantis and crazy media. Now, the Washington Post today covering 3 murders in Florida because a white man committed the crime. A guy who had been institutionalized in a mental institution and then was still allowed to buy guns. And Ron DeSantis has blood on his hands, and he's a racist, according to a state representative in Florida. Now, Ron DeSantis talked about the triple homicide there.
Florida, the state, and its people condemn the horrific racially motivated murders perpetrated by a deranged scumbag in Jacksonville at the Dollar General store. Perpetrating violence of this kind is unacceptable, and targeting people due to their race has no place in the state of Florida.
Whereas killing people when it's not racially motivated is much better. And he called the scumbag a scumbag. And that upset the people at MSDNC, Andrea Mitchell, with a radical left-wing racist.
Yesterday, Governor DeSantis in Florida facing audible boos at a Jacksonville vigil for the 3 victims.
Liberals.
At the vigil, DeSantis called the gunman a scumbag.
How dare he?
And Jeffrey Rumlin, a Jacksonville pastor who spoke after DeSantis, was very direct in his response. He said, at the end of the day, respectfully, Governor, he was not a scumbag. He was a racist. What's your response to that?
Aren't racist scumbags? Because that's Andrea Mitchell. And then she went to this, they brought this racist on by the name of Trymaine Lee to opine.
For so many folks, the issue with that kind of language is that it places the onus on one individual and the actions of one individual, as opposed to a nationwide sickness of white supremacy in this country and the violence that it fuels.
It's not one mentally ill person, you see. It's the entire country that is guilty. All of America is guilty. And Trymaine Lee wasn't done yet because he had more to condemn the United States of America and all white people because one crazy person murdered 3 people. There will be 9,900 African Americans murdered this year in the United States.